Welcome back to another episode of Big Movie Mouth Off. We're here at Brewby Cinema Pub, reviewing more films for you. I'm Jimmy Martin with Slug Magazine.
And I'm Jeff Weiss with MSN Entertainment. You can find Big Movie Mouth Off on Xfinity, On Demand, Channel 6, or when you go to your On Demand menu, you can look up on Utah On Demand, Salt Lake Alternative, neat little sleeve titled Big Movie Mouth Off, new and old reviews. Things that may be on demand now or on DVD or Blu-ray, things currently in theaters, such as the following movie.
Ooh, it's Guillermo del Toro's latest, Pacific Rim. I kind of like talking about this one because a lot of people, when you tell them that, they go, what is that? They don't know. Well, here's what it is. Basically, Guillermo del Toro has made a kaiju movie. Now, if you don't know what kaiju is, you'll learn it in the first 3 seconds of this movie because they explain it very, very detailed. Kaiju, picture Godzilla, Mothra, giant, large monsters attacking cities. And so basically what this film is about, a portal is opened up in the Pacific Rim, or Pacific Ocean, and out come a bunch of kaijus and start attacking cities. Humans don't know what to do. So instead of just falling down and saying screw it and running away, just say whatever, we fight back. And so how do we fight monsters? Well, as the poster says, we build monsters. So
Jaegers.
Jaegers. Not to be confused with a drink, but guess what? If you have a drink like that with this movie, it's going to go just fine. So, Jaegers. Now, here we go. Charlie Hunnam is a pilot of a Jaeger. In the beginning, he is a pilot with his brother. Something happens to his brother. I'm not going to say anything. And it kind of takes him out of the game a little bit. Now, what I love about this film is that we're not watching the beginning of this war between Jaegers and humans and the kaiju. We get a prologue a little bit. We kind of learn what's going on, but now it's 7 years later into this war, and this is our last stand. We have 4 Jaegers left. They have and that's the great thing about this too. It's brought the world together. So you've got your Russian Jaeger, you've got I believe a Chinese Jaeger, you've got the American Jaeger, and I think maybe an Australian Jaeger, if I remember right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, from down under.
So these are the best of the best to take on the last stand against kaiju.
They are the last line of defense.
That's right. And
because the rest of mankind has decided they're throwing in the towel. They're just going to build a big wall.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to keep the monsters out.
That's not going to help at all.
Hey, by the way, Jimmy, you got giant monsters in my giant robot movie. No, wait. You got giant robots in my giant monster movie.
This is not gonna stop. In order to fight monsters, we created monsters of our own. We needed a new weapon. The Jaeger program was born. 2 pilots. Our minds, our memories. Connected. And man and machine become one.
Today, at the edge of our hope, at the end of our time, we've chosen to believe in each other. Today we face the monsters that are at our door. Today we are canceling the apocalypse.
But leading this whole group of ragtag Jaeger pilots is Idris Elba, who, I will say this right now, Charlie Hunnam and the rest of the Jaeger pilots, they're not really the greatest of actors in the world. Guess what? I didn't walk into this theater going, I want really good acting. What I wanted was a 20-story robot punching a 20-story monster.
Guess what you get in this movie?
That's what I got for about 2 hours.
Yes, here's a big thought I had watching this movie. Well, you don't need to worry about making a Godzilla movie now.
I'm excited for the Godzilla movie, but ooh, they got some shoes to fill.
Yes, because man, did they
Some big, giant monster shoes.
These are terrifying big monsters
Yep.
with very innovative designs, and I was shocked at how good the CGI looks on these creatures and on the robots.
Yep.
Which have a more maybe conservative design than your Transformers, but are much more earthy and convincing, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, these things break. That's the thing. It's not just like superhero robots. These things get torn apart. You've got them put back into the hangars where thousands of construction workers are working on this thing. It's as unbelievable this movie is. Guillermo del Toro does his best to make it believable.
Yeah,
you have to take your mind out of it a little bit.
You do, and yet he grounds this ridiculous story in such a way that you sort of have to give up and go, okay, I'll believe
Yeah.
monsters that big and robots that big can exist, especially in a universe in which Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia
Absolutely.
can be a top scientist.
Yep. I mean, to me, and I'm glad you brought up Charlie Day because, I was kind of wondering, Charlie Day always kind of plays Charlie Day.
Right.
And in this film, he plays Charlie Day.
Yes.
Just as a kaiju groupie, essentially.
Absolutely. As it turns out, Charlie Day can play a character named Charlie, or surprisingly, it works for a nerdy scientist.
Yeah, right? And so, but watching his character, this movie really hits every summer beat of summer blockbusters that we've seen before.
Absolutely.
I look at Charlie Day and I immediately go, that's Jeff Goldblum from Independence Day. And that's okay. It's a popcorn movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a blast with this. I mean, I grew up playing with giant robots when I was a kid, and this is what Guillermo del Toro just took my toys and goes, here, let me make them real.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh.
but you're right. There are callbacks to other movies,
Sure.
not just Godzilla, not just Independence Day, but in its weird way, Charlie Hunnam as the pilot who suffers a loss and then has to rebuild himself and start again, sort of Top Gun-y.
Little bit. I mean, and there's little winks in here to even other sci-fi films like Star Wars,
Right.
Little lines of dialogue that pop up. It's just Del Toro's way of having a great time with a summer movie that he knows is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But I will say this. One of my favorite scenes in this film, and it's gorgeous, I'm not going to ruin too much for it, is a little girl.
Yes.
It's a flashback sequence, a little girl being chased and horrified by one of these kaiju monsters. Couldn't be older than 6 years old. And it is a performance that I don't know how Del Toro pulled that
It's
one.
phenomenal. It's also the most beautiful looking scene
Yeah.
in the movie too. It's the best setup, and if you're a pretentious movie snob like we all can be sometimes, you'll appreciate the art of that scene.
It's phenomenal. I mean, the movie just hits it on every level, but for different reasons,
Yes. Is it cheesy? Is it cornball? Is it hard to believe? Yes. Are there some bad performances, some bad dialogue, some questionable directing
Sure.
choices? Is it a little long? Sure.
But it's a summer movie.
Absolutely.
It is the definition of summer
You have to
movie.
forgive that. And as much as I liked Man of Steel,
Yeah.
this film actually, in its weird way, accepts the giant toll and cost of human life and destruction in a way that Man of Steel didn't, and I appreciated this for that.
Yeah, I did say, my comparison to Man of Steel was, everybody was like, oh my God, you destroyed Metropolis. Well, this
Yeah,
this movie destroyed every city in the world.
Tokyo and Sydney, when the Sydney Opera House goes down.
It's really fun.
Take that, Australia.
Yeah, I mean, you do have action pretty much throughout the entire movie, but I love that the way he did it, where there's even action going on in the TV behind him. You know what I
Right.
mean? And they have to sit there and watch news reports of other cities getting destroyed while they're getting ready to fight. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I remember looking at pretty much everybody in that theater just smiling and laughing.
Absolutely, and just when you think you've got it figured out, there are a few surprises here and there.
I'm not gonna ruin them.
Nope.
So, go to this film and if Del Toro explained it the best way. And someone said, what is Pacific Rim about? And he said, it's robots punching monsters. What else do you want? That's what you get. And that's what this film is. And it's one of those things that just, it hits the mark on what it's supposed to be. And I had an absolute blast with it.
As did I. This film actually satisfied me in ways the film that Guillermo del Toro nearly directed, The Hobbit, didn't. 3.5 stars for me, Jimmy.
I'm right there with you. I mean, there's very little in this film that disappointed me, and that's it. 3.5 stars. For the love of God, go see Pacific Rim.
Yes.
Enjoy it. See it on the IMAX screen, because I think that's the way you're supposed to see it. I almost say bigger is better with this film, and the film believes that, and I think the movie theaters would believe that too.
Yes, support this because this is the superior giant robot movie.
Yeah, and do it. Go see it. Pacific Rim. That'll do it for this episode of Big Movie Mouth Off. We'll catch you for more summer movies. We got a few more after this one, but this one's kind of on top of the mountain right now. So we'll see you guys next time at Groovy Cinema Pub, reviewing more films.